Hey there, guys. Kind of a change of plans on what I was going to do today. I was going to go downstairs and start looking through some of the Blu-rays, but I'm going to be leaving for vacation in about a couple of hours. Like, I'm going over to my sister's to spend the night, and then we're just going to take off from there, and then we're on our way to Ocean City. So, like I said, there's going to be some videos on that over the week, so probably a couple tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. But I do want to talk about something because, of course, today is the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center at the Pentagon, and actually not far from where I live, because I live about half hours or so, a little bit more than a half an hour away from Shanksville, from near Somerset, where United 93 went down, and I do want to talk about where I was kind of during September 11th, because everyone else is doing it. So I figured, why not go ahead and talk about my experience through September 11th? Because honestly, it was an interesting one, because like everyone else, I had no idea what was going on when it happened. Because 20 years ago, I had just entered my second year in middle school, and my sister was about 2 years ahead of me. She was already at the senior high school, but this was my second year at the middle school, so this is my first time being in the building by myself and not my sister being right next to me. So I do remember where I was the day. I do remember, because like the day it happened, the day started off kind of normal. Like even at around 8:50, when the first plane hit the one of the buildings at the World Trade Center, like nobody really knew what was going on. Nobody really had any idea. Like I had no idea what was going on, because it just felt like a normal day. Like it wasn't until about a couple of hours later during my lunch, and they usually would let us go outside and play and like enjoy the sunshine, and play outside for a little bit after we were done eating lunch. We'd probably get like about 25 minutes to do so. And I just remember that all the security guys saying, "You can't go outside. You can't go outside because something happened." They weren't telling us what was going on either, and so nobody really knew what was going on. And not but a couple of hours later, they let us go home early. And I thought to myself, because back then I wasn't much of like most kids back then. I wasn't a fan of school. Like I would usually fake it. I honestly faked an illness to get out of school one day, and then that didn't work. So I got to stay home for a couple hours, and I had to go back and talk and apologize for what I did. I didn't get a detention for that one, luckily. But yeah, when we got home early from that day, I thought to myself, "Oh, sweet! I get some time for myself now." So it didn't really hit me what had gone on, because nobody was really saying anything. So as soon as I got home, I just went outside and played on my scooter right in our driveway, because my dad wanted me to stay by our driveway when I was there. So I played on my scooter for a little bit, and then I came back inside, and then I started seeing the stuff on TV about what had just happened, because my dad he explained it to me, but he didn't really explain it to me in a way that I would understand it at the time. So later on, he did kind of give me a rundown of what happened, about the planes hitting the World Trade Centers, the plane hitting part of the Pentagon, and the plane hitting near Somerset. And by the end of that day, I finally understood what was going on, and I was a little scared. Like I honestly was scared. I honestly was really scared. But like, if I remember correctly, we went back to school the next day, which was surprising, because I mean, a lot of people didn't really know what to do after these events happened. Do they go back to their regular lives? Do they try to go back and go back to normal at this point? Or because we just had this happen, and nobody really knew what to do. Like, but if I remember right, we did go back to school the next day, and they did talk about how we were supposed to deal with this. And I mean, the rest speaks for itself. I mean, the next couple of months we were learning about, as we were trying to figure out how to get back to normal. And it was definitely a weird time in my life, because you don't usually get these type of events like this very often. Like, you really do not get these type of events. So basically, the year went on as pretty much as normal as you can get after something like this. I mean, but then like I said, it was a weird time back then. One of the experience is I remember about 5 years later when they finally decided to start making movies based off of the events of September 11th. We were getting two movies based off of the 9/11 attacks by Universal and Paramount, and the first one to come out was United 93, which is a great movie. Paul Greengrass directed that movie, the guy who did the Bourne sequels. If you have not seen United 93, I highly recommend checking it out. It's one of the best movies from that year, one of the best movies of that decade. I'll never forget the time I went to go see it in the theater, because I have a movie theater that was right down the road from here. It's unfortunately closed down now. It's going to be a busy beaver. But I went there. Usually I like to get to a movie about 10 to 15 minutes before it starts, so I can get the best seats, because I usually like to sit up at the top rows in the stadium seating, like either on the left or the right. When I got in there, it was like packed. It was like packed. Like really, it was a hard time for me to find a seat, but I did find one in the front of the theater, which the front of the theater is not bad, but it's not really the best place to sit and watch a movie. And this was a Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon movies don't usually, they're not as packed as they were, but I think because this was such a special moment, because this was a movie mostly about the plane that hit in Somerset, it was packed. Like, you could see people standing in the hallways on both sides of the theater, just engrossed in what was going on. And it was an interesting experience. I didn't go see something like Passion of the Christ in theaters, where they had a lot of people, I think, had that same kind of reaction to it. But when the movie was over, you just saw people just getting up out of the theaters, just walking. Nobody's really talking. Nobody's really saying anything. Just trying to be engulfed in think about what they just saw. And that was certainly a very interesting movie-going experience for me, at least with United 93. And then I went to go see World Trade Center that following August, which is a good movie, not the best movie, especially since United 93 came beforehand, but I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. It's one of Oliver Stone's best modern movies, honestly. It was a nice return from him after he kind of fell off after Alexander. And when I went to go see that movie, that one was not packed, surprisingly. Like, that one was not as filled with as many people, even though that movie did a lot better than United 93 did at the box office. I think when United 93 came out, it made like $11 million, and for a movie to gross $11 million nationally and to have a theater that packed, that says a lot about how much is about where all that money came from. Because, World Trade Center, and like I said, when I went into World Trade Center, it wasn't as packed. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it wasn't quite as good as United 93, but it was still an enjoyable movie. And I also recommend that too. If you want to look for a movie about the 9/11 attacks that actually are very good and well done, I definitely would recommend United 93 and World Trade Center. I would say United 93 is the best of the two. Watch those movies. Don't watch something like Remember Me, which decides to use 9/11 as a twist ending, which I watched the ending again today on YouTube, and there's just people who are just like, oh, the ending made me cry, or the ending was like, I couldn't believe it. It's just like, no, when I saw that movie, when that movie came out about 11 years ago, I thought to myself, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you really are gonna use September 11th as an emotional ploy, you sick, twisted movie. And it was not a good movie at all. There have been some good movies based off of 9/11 since then. One of the first ones that came out, Spike Lee's 25th Hour, was a great movie. Adam Sandler did a very good movie, Reign Over Me, with him and Don Cheadle, that I think is really underrated. Like, if you want to see Adam Sandler at his best dramatic performance, definitely check that movie out. And then there was another one that came out 10 years ago, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, with Tom Hanks and Sandra Bullock. I haven't seen it before, but I keep hearing some good things about that one, so maybe down the line I'll definitely check that one out. So anyway, that's it for this particular video. I wanted to talk about my 9/11 experience. Like, how was I during this event? How did it change my life? It really did change my life once I got a full understanding of what was going on, and like kind of the aftermath of what happened. Like my thoughts on some of the movies that came out since then. Like I said, United 93, World Trade Center, those are the two best ones in my opinion. And it's one of those moments that you'll never forget if you were, especially someone like me who was alive during that time period. This is my World War II. This was my JFK assassination. This was my Challenger. This was one of those events where I'm going to remember this, and I'm going to tell my kids about it, about my experience when this happened. It's one of those things. And let me know below how you guys, what happened, what your 9/11 experience was. What did you feel like? Like, were you kids when this happened? Were you adults when this happened? I'm kind of interested to know what you guys think of it. So go ahead and put that in the comments below. And that's going to do it for this episode. So thank you guys for watching. That's pretty much all I have to say right now. So I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. So until the next time I see you, take care. Have a good one.